Most video games don't actually want you to explore. They want you to arrive. Want you to move between points they've already decided are interesting. Collect things they've already deemed valuable and feel some vague sense of accomplishment for going where you were always meant to go. And that's fine. Except we keep calling that exploration. We talk about open worlds and massive maps, endless freedom, but somehow wandering in most of these games feels strangely empty. Like you're killing time rather than discovering anything. You don't feel curious, you feel managed. What's fascinating is that the games that break this spell, the ones where exploration feels genuinely profound, often do the least to help you. They don't guide you, they don't reassure you, they don't even reward you, they simply trust if you care enough, something meaningful will happen. So this video isn't about map size, it's not about open worlds, and it's definitely not about how much stuff a game lets you collect. It's about why exploration only works when a game is willing to be curious about you. Exploration isn't movement, it isn't scale, it isn't even freedom, strictly speaking. Exploration is a relationship between the player's curiosity and the game's willingness to respond to it. You wander off the path and the game shrugs, that's not exploration. You wander off the path and the game changes, that is. Brings us to the game that, in my view, understands this better than almost anything else ever made. Outer Wilds is not about findings. Not about understanding a system. You don't explore Outer Wilds to get stronger. You don't explore to unlock abilities. You explore because knowing how the universe works is the only form of progress that exists. And what makes this remarkable is how completely that idea permeates the game. The mechanics don't teach you the rules. They teach you the consequences. The story doesn't unfold, it accumulates. The soundtrack doesn't guide you, it lingers, echoing across space like a memory you haven't earned yet. Every planet's a question, every ruin is an incomplete sentence. The game never tells you where to go, it simply trusts that curiosity will do the work. Outer Wilds refuses to confuse progress with accumulation. There's no checklist or XP bar or a moment where the game pats you on the head for exploring correctly. Instead, it asks something much riskier of the player. Are you paying attention? And when you are, the game opens up in astonishing ways. Not because it gave you permission, but because you finally understood the rules it was always playing by. This is exploration at its purest. Learning as traversal. See, Outer Wilds is the rare game where exploration is not a system layered on top of mechanics, but the gravitational force that everything else orbits around. Every design decision, sound, music, narrative structure, physical simulation, even the absence of traditional progression is in service of one singular idea. That understanding is movement. You don't explore Outer Wilds by covering ground, you explore it by forming mental models, by noticing how sand behaves differently on two planets, by realizing that a melody heard in one place answers a question posed somewhere else entirely, by recognizing that what once felt chaotic is in fact rigorously consistent. The game is never capricious, it never escalates its challenges in the conventional sense, because it doesn't need to. The universe is already complete when you arrive, or maybe incomplete, and your role is not to conquer it, but to try and comprehend it. Crucially, Outer Wilds refuses to distinguish between story, mechanics, and exploration. Lore is not something you collect. It is something you inhabit. Learn through a physical presence and quiet observation rather than exposition. The soundtrack doesn't swell to announce importance, it drifts. It repeats, it echoes, and reinforces the idea that meaning is not delivered to you on a cue, but slowly assembled over time. Even failure is educational rather than punitive, because every mistake reveals another invariant of the system. And in doing all of this, Outer Wilds achieves something extraordinary. It makes curiosity feel sufficient. There's no extrinsic reward loop demanding your attention, no artificial scarcity pushing you forward, no checklist to reassure you that you're playing correctly. The game trusts that if you are curious enough, if you're attentive enough, if you're patient enough, the act of exploration itself will be compelling. And that trust is precisely why it works. Good egg. Oh, good. Now let's cross this. Oh, prickles. 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 Oh. Up. Now, to be clear, I feel as though I am the specific target audience for a game like Outer Wilds. I'm a musician, indie game enthusiast, and a complete turbo nerd, but there's this moment in Outer Wilds where it just clicks. And I'm not talking about a moment in the narrative or a plot line that you stumble across. I'm talking about something a little bit greater than that, or something almost metaphysical, where you realize that Outer Wilds' objective is not something you are trying to achieve, but it is instead a journey. The game's main objective is to play the game. The game's main objective is to explore and enjoy the art of exploration. Knowledge, not location, is key. And that key led me to think of another game. Elden Ring and the wider Souls lineage are often described as difficult. I don't think that's quite right. They are uncertain. Exploration in these games isn't encouraged by rewards, it's encouraged by temptation. You see something strange on the horizon, you have no idea what's there. The game makes you ask a quiet and powerful question. Is my curiosity worth the risk? Now that's magic. You're not pushed outward by objectives, you're pulled outward by possibility. And crucially, when exploration goes wrong, the game doesn't pretend it didn't happen. Failure is part of the landscape. You remember places not because the map told you to, but because something terrible happened there. And this is where comparisons get interesting. Because games like Elden Ring, or Diablo, and Metroid all share a surface-level structure. Dungeons connected by an overworld. But only one of them treats the world as something to be interrogated, rather than traversed. In Elden Ring, the world doesn't funnel you, it dares you. Points of interest aren't instructions, they're warnings. In other words, that exploration becomes a gamble. Now let's talk about where this philosophy breaks down. Starfield wants to be about exploration. It has planets, systems, scale, but it replaces curiosity with logistics. Fast travel is the default, traversal is menu navigation, and discovery is its arrival at location. I mean, you don't wonder what's out there, you literally select it off a map. And the shift is devastating, because when exploration is reduced to choosing a destination, the journey stops mattering. And Diablo 4 dresses its world in openness, but exploration exists purely in service of optimization. You explore so the game can give you what it already decided you need. And the modern Metroid entries, including Metroid Dread, fall into a subtler trap. They encourage movement, not wonder. You're not asking, what is this place? You're asking, what ability am I missing? Exploration becomes recall, not curiosity. And it's absolutely that curiosity that is key. Now, I want you to think of a Ubisoft game.
Yeah, boy.
Where you've got mini-maps, waypoints that overload you, where you have specific goals that you need to achieve. You go to a town and there's 15 quests already lined up and you're overwhelmed immediately. Now compare that to the emotional difference, the I found this of something like Outer Wilds. The look what I've stumbled across in a game like Elden Ring. Not the I was sent here by a game like Assassin's Creed. And you will really start to see a stark difference between a game that enables and respects the player and a game that's putting you on rails. And maybe you shouldn't be on rails. Maybe you should be taking your last bar fight and tying them to those rails. Because Red Dead Redemption 2 understands something crucial. Exploration isn't about secrets, it's about presence. You wander because the world reacts to your lingering. Time passes and stories happen whether you are ready or not. And of course, Zelda succeeds for a different reason entirely. It makes exploration physical, climbing, gliding, physics, curiosity expressed through movement and not through menus. These games may not reach Outer Wilds' philosophical depth, but they respect the player's attention, and that counts. And I feel like we need to touch on it again. Rainworld deserves a mention here, not because it's about exploration, but because it refuses to make exploration comfortable. In Rainworld, you explore because staying still is dangerous. You learn ignorance kills you. It doesn't guide curiosity, it demands it from you. So here's the line. It's clean, unavoidable. Exploration is only rewarding when the game is curious about you. Not about whether you've arrived, not about whether you've cleared the area, but about how you moved through the world and what you learned by doing so. You see, Outer Wilds trusts your curiosity. Elden Ring respects risk. Rainworld enforces attention. Where other games wait for you to show up, these games respond to you. Outer Wilds doesn't succeed because it's clever. It succeeds because it refuses to distract you from what matters. There's no power fantasy here. There's no accumulation of XP. There's no false sense of progress. Just a universe that says, if you're curious enough, this will mean something. And that's the highest compliment a game can give you. Hola! Me again! I did another one because I couldn't stop from doing these at the moment. They're so much fun. I hope you really enjoyed this one. It's a little bit different to the last one. Each one's probably going to have a slightly different topic. Next video is already sort of planned. I got one coming up in relation to some awesome horror games that I've been playing, so keep your eyes peeled for that if you like horror. You guys said that you like these, so here's another one for you. If you do love it, hit subscribe and the like button and follow me on the Wibblies or whatever the YouTubers say. Come see me on Twitch. There's a merch link below as well. Much love. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. And again, if you want more of this, let me know below and I will keep making more of it. All right. I'm going to go stream. I appreciate you guys. See you soon. See you.